So hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Assetto Corsa Competizione video. In today's video I wanted to take a little look at personal setups. Now a number of you will know that I'm already doing setups for other drivers, whether they're racing in AOR leagues or whether they're just taking part in league races that they've signed up to. Some of us don't get a chance to do that because we're just too busy doing setups and YouTube videos, but yeah, people are wanting these setups. Now I just thought I'd do the video so that you can understand really what you're getting when you buy one of my setups. A lot of people probably think, why would I want to spend money on buying a setup? And yes, there are websites like Setspace that does do free setups, or you can leave a donation. I have got setups that are on there, but primarily the ones that I'm uploading onto that site are going to be to do with the special events and just random setups really. You see a lot of videos on YouTube with people that are doing fast laps and providing the setups, and that's all well and good if all you're trying to do is a fast lap. But when you're taking part in a race or a league race where there's differences in weather conditions, those fast lap setups just aren't going to cut it really. I have done a number of setups where people have asked for a very specific weather, and then the weather's changed and they've tried to use the same setup within different weather conditions, and it's just not going to work the same. The balance of the car is going to be totally different given a different set of weather conditions. So during these setups I'm providing a car that's going to handle well in all conditions really. It's never going to be 100% performance in any given scenario. It's very much an all-round setup, and it's going to differ hugely from if you're trying to do a fast lap on a dry optimum circuit in say 30-degree conditions, and you're going to take that exact same setup across to do a stormy wet weather race. It's just never going to work. So these setups, I spend about 2 hours in the car, and then I spend another hour putting the video together, doing the editing. Obviously, as you all know, I'm using the Xbox One X and all Fanatec equipment, so these setups have been designed using a wheel and pedals. There's nothing that's going to be done really using the controller other than maybe adjusting sound, but I think if you're looking for a setup, it's going to be a wheel setup, I would imagine. During the setup, I try and run my setups based on a race weekend, so I'll spend about an hour in each qualifying session, maybe reset the session, do another hour, using different weather conditions. I could be using the storm conditions, medium rain, custom, or even a dry setup, but I'll try and run the same setup across a different array of weather conditions to try and find a good balance within the car to perform well in all conditions. Obviously then I've got to put a video together. I'll explain lines around the circuit. I'll sometimes do a slow drive around the circuit if I feel it's necessary, but I'll also talk over a fast lap around the circuit, areas where you might want to try and cool the tyres, lines around the circuit through corners, or where you might want to try and avoid certain curbs, etc. Techniques, braking techniques, throttle application techniques, things that will really benefit getting the most out of the car, changes to the engine mapping or brake balances for certain corners, using the traction control in certain areas, just things that are going to really help you. And like I've said, really, this is a personal setup. It's not something that you're going to find trawling through YouTube videos. The car is set up very specifically to whatever track conditions that you're going to experience during your race itself. So all I need from you really is to provide me with the weather format, what car you're wanting to use, and the circuit, time of day, things that are going to be important to getting the most out of the setup. Usually drivers are sending me details of what the lobby is going to contain, whether it's rain for 15% or 20% of the race, or then it's going to be dry for 45 minutes or so on. Numerous things that they can tell me as much detail as possible to be able to provide the best setup available. And I'll also try and cover, if I have time, where best to change tyres, or what sort of pressures you might need to change mid-race. Obviously it'll depend on the length of the race. Some people are doing hour-long races, 30-minute races, sometimes they're 2-hour-long races. No one's really messaged me yet with regards to hot lapping sessions, but more to do with races themselves, league races that are taking part in. With the whole season looking ahead, there's numerous guys that are looking at 11 to 12 races in their season, and have dealt me the challenge to set the car up in variable weather conditions. So yeah, then I put the video together, do an audio description over the video, or do a very specific track guide, very slow around the circuit, and then obviously creating that PDF document with all the settings, each page nicely displayed, and that'll come straight through your email. And I'll also provide a link to a video that's on Google Drive that you can download and save, or you can just watch it as a number of times. There is a gigabyte limit for the amount of videos that I'm able to store, so I recommend once you've got that link, just download the video, store it somewhere, and then you've got it to look back on. Obviously you might do the same race the following season, so it's definitely something that you could look back to. Or if you're looking at progressing with your setups, learning more about setups, you might be able to glean a lot of detail through these videos that I create that are very personal. Obviously, if somebody else happens to message me and they're in exactly the same race, exactly the same car, same settings, I will provide that video and setup for somebody else, but they will not get that setup unless they've paid exactly the same costs as you've paid. And I maybe sometimes will make a few tweaks to that setup, a little bit more learning maybe from the previous setup, so sometimes I might reuse the same setup and just make numerous adjustments to it. But a personal setup is something that's very specific to you as the driver. It is nice, sometimes drivers have got other accounts, YouTube accounts, Twitch accounts, and I can have a look at their driving style. Maybe there's a few problems within their own particular driving style which might be worth looking at in a little video. I will provide a little bit of feedback on that, but initially it's a 2-hour setup that I'll do, and then an hour really to put the video together. So all in all 3 hours, which I'm starting to charge around £30. Obviously if you want me to do a more detailed setup, and believe me, a 2-hour setup is probably the bare minimum that I would think about doing. There is so much to be able to get the car running at its best. 2 hours is an absolute minimum really. So 2 hours in the setup, and then an hour to put the video and the PDF document together, and then get that sent across to you for a cost of £30. So like I said, if you want me to do extra hours within the setup to find that little bit more about the car, or maybe run some more tests through doing a full race weekend, or if you want me to run the full hour-long race, find out where would be best, or where the pit stop's going to fall, and what things you could do within the pit stop, lines to take into the pit, and just some pit stop tips really. You could add an extra hour to that, which I'm charging at around £10 per hour. It is very time consuming to do the setups, and there are a number of people that I'm doing setups for at the moment. So if you are interested in getting a personal setup, please do drop me a comment in the comment section, or you can message me on using Messenger, or you can get in touch with me on a number of the Facebook pages that are within the video description. Along with the video description, there are some useful documents in there, PDF documents already to do with anti-roll bars, the preload, numerous engine maps and steering ratios that are in there. I am thinking about doing some more of these PDF documents, maybe to do with tyres, cambers and stuff like that, downforce, etc. But if you are interested in a personal setup, please do drop me an email or a comment in either of those formats, and I'll try and get one done for you. I am wanting to do payment up front for these setups. Obviously you can imagine they are time consuming. I really don't want to spend 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours or 5 hours doing a setup for somebody and then they say they're not interested in purchasing it. So I've been doing payment up front first, and then I'll get on with doing the setup as quickly as possible, really. So yeah, I hope you're interested in the proposition of buying one of my setups. You will see that I am quite a dominant figure, I suppose, within the Xbox community when it comes to Assetto Corsa Competizione, and possibly on project cars too as well. I have done a number of setups on there. None of the personal setups, but I'm sure if you look through all the videos that I've got available on YouTube, you'll see a number of personal setup videos that I do talk through, and probably something that I'm sort of trying to move away from within Assetto Corsa Competizione, just due to the fact that doing the hot lap videos, they don't particularly bring a great deal of viewers to the channel. People are more interested in learning about the car themselves, how to do the tuning themselves, aspects of the car, whether it's anti-roll bars, the dampers, cambers, things that are going to help you as a driver develop, rather than watch me just set a fast lap. But the things like recently I'll be also uploading a video around the special events. These are things that you might be able to glean a lot of information from, and also the setups available on Setspace website, Milan Bosco, that's doing so well with the website. It is really developing. I'm sure the last time I looked there were over 60 plus setups that are being created, predominantly on PC. It just seems to be myself providing Xbox setups that will translate across to PlayStation. So if you are interested, take a look over on the Setspace website. I'll put a link to that just down in this corner. But yeah, if you're interested, as I've mentioned already, please do hit me up and get one of my setups purchased and see how you perform in your next league race. I look forward to hearing back from all the drivers that are currently using my setups and that are purchasing them. It's been an interesting insight into learning a lot more about the cars themselves and how to get more from them. So thanks for watching as always, and until my next video, ciao for now.